So I've got an old laptop. The reason I'm using this microphone like this is because the fan on the computer is going absolutely haywire because it's hot here. But as I sort of said, I was going to commit as best I could to these weekly events. So here I am making the most of it, even though I've been up since the middle of the thing that you need. Subscribe button. That way you can make sure that you have all the information that you need, and I'm up to date, so even if I go live out of the ordinary, you'll be able to pick this up and do what and to know what's going on. So what else do we need to talk about? So this is the way the show's been working. I'm going to share a little bit about the podcast this week, and if anyone has got anything to say about that, then please do just jump in. That'd be really good. A chance for you to share your work. So if you've got something that you're working on, something that's happened to you that you want to share, then please do just put that in the comments. It just goes into the main comments to begin with. It doesn't go straight onto screen. And then once I've had a chance to look at that, there's a little bit of a lag between when I'm talking to you and when it actually comes through. So do put those comments in as soon as you possibly can, and then I can bring them up and we can have a conversation about that as we go. And as I said, please do also put in there that you can see and hear me all right. We've had a couple of the parts of the stream have already knocked out already, but as I said, I'm on location, so I have little control over what we can do and where we are for that particular thing. And also, I've got some information of some of the guests that are coming up, which is very good. So yeah, so that's really good. Aha. So let me just bring up this, and I can answer that for you. So yes, so one of the things that we want to be able to share, let me just get rid of that and let's do that in a different way, to be able to bring that up for you and make the most of that. Oh good, you can see and hear me, fantastic. Oh, so there we are, brilliant. The smart of art, brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. So yes, how can we share? Yes, please do. Just put it in the comments, and then I can bring it up on screen like this, and we can have a conversation about anything that you would like to be able to share, something you're working on, something that's happened, something that you want to be able to do. And the other thing is that yes, you can share this each week. That's the reason I'm going to come live, give you the opportunity to be able to share it this way. If you'd like to come on and actually be a guest, that's something that we're introducing, certainly from a fortnight's time, maybe even from next week, but I'll give you a little hint into how and what's coming up on that very, very soon. So yeah, do just leave anything else you want in the comments. I'd really, really appreciate that. As I said, I'm here for you, and it's a chance for us to have this sort of broadcast, this sort of conversation through the chat, at least when it's just me and you in the chat, and the ability to be able to then obviously have those interviews as and when they come up. So as I mentioned, I'm going to share with you this week's podcast, and just depending on whether you've heard it or not, if there's anything particularly that really sort of struck out, then that will give you the opportunity to be able to share that, or anything which you thought took away from the podcast this week. I'm going to share a previous podcast that you may not have seen if you've come to the podcast in the last sort of few months or weeks. The show's also been going since 2016, so there might be one or two that you haven't come across before. So yeah, we're going to make sure you have the opportunity to do that as well. So as you will probably know, you can hear the podcast all over the place on any platform that you have that opportunity to. There's just a few there. If you go to educationonfire.com/listen, that does then give you the opportunity to get this page, and then you can click straight through and you can follow and subscribe in whichever version the platform offers you to do that through there. You can also listen on YouTube now. There's part of that within YouTube Music. That's something which is being developed more and more and more, and I'll keep you up to date of that as well. But this is kind of the traditional audio podcast as it goes out to all the other platforms as well. And as I mentioned, the idea of having this is a platform is for us to be able to talk about those podcasts, sort of bring things in real time, bring the community together, give you an opportunity to be able to take part in that. We're working on next week. There is a possibility, and we obviously, if we can get that going, that'd be really good. 24th of October, as you can see there, we're going to have Alex on from BBC Teach. We had this planned before, and then there was a scheduling issue, so we had to change it. But then he's going to come back on and do that, which is fantastic. We're going to have the Literacy Lab on. If you put Literacy Lab into the search bar on educationonfire.com, there's an actual podcast that I did with the Literacy Lab as well, so you can find out a little bit more about them before. Same goes for Ed Kerwin and Empathy Week. He was one of my earlier guests, so it'd be fantastic to sort of hear exactly what he's doing. I know he's got some interesting things coming up for his 2024 week, which I think is in February. So that's going to be super good. No show on the 14th of November. That's because I have a pre-existing engagement and a concert that I have to attend and be part of. So that's a reason I can't do that. I will actually put up a pre-record with all these things that we've been talking about in terms of the show of the week and a particular past episode and something to share as well. So and that way it will really just gives us the opportunity to be able to kind of at least keep the weekly thing going, even if I can't be live on that particular week. And then the 28th of November, as you can see there, Superkind are going to be coming on telling us exactly about their organisation and what they're actually doing as well. And not surprisingly, you can see here there's a real theme in terms of that sort of child-first, child-centred idea of education and that ability to kind of really, really want to put the child at the centre of what we're doing. And not surprisingly, that's the kind of community that we're actually kind of building and bringing up as well. So, yes, indeed, Michael. So I can't remember which episode ours was. Can you remember the actual number of it off the top of your head? And I can put that in so people can actually find it as well. So yeah, that idea of sort of being everything it entails about being collaborative, about being a creator, and just being part of the natural world, I think that just really gives us the opportunity to realise who we are, what we're doing, how we can interact, and it takes us away from that kind of system-based idea of learning and education as we go through as well. And I think that's a really, 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 really important sort of version of what we can do there. Let me just see if I can just find that number for us and give us a chance to give everyone that number of when you were on as well. So yeah, do keep those coming through, and also anyone else that's watching as well. It'd be really, 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 really good to be able to do that. So also, as you can see, we want to be able to share. Oh, I've got that scene coming through everywhere. You can see on the fly without my normal studio. I interviewed Pablo this week. Actually, his podcast will come out at the end of the year, maybe the beginning of January. But you can see it was all about the Leaders algorithm. It was a fantastic conversation about his work as a teacher and a superintendent in schools, and then he's got a consulting firm and also now being an author as well. It's a fantastic, really, really, really inspirational conversation. And his book's been out already. I think it's back earlier in the summer. So I thought I'd just give that a shout out already, because it's a podcast which will be well worth listening to when it comes later on. And give you the opportunity maybe to even get it in advance and have a look through in there. So you can, all the usual platforms you can get that from, but it's called the Leaders algorithm.